Good morning, everybody. So, this morning I wanted to come in and talk to you guys about we have another suicide attempt. Well, not attempt, but there's another suicide with another celebrity in 1 week. And I really want to just talk to you guys really quickly. Hey, Brenda. I just we always talk about mental illness and people needing help, but it's so much more to it than I think people really understand. And the sad part is there are more people who really are going through depression. There are more people that are going through different personal traumas, and we're hearing about celebrities, but every day in our own backyards, there's so many people who are really suffering in silence. There are people that you know every day that you talk to. There are friends and family that you may not expect or know that's going through. And I think it's time, and I know it's time. When I first started sharing my story a couple years ago of going through depression, I did not want to sit and tell nobody nothing like that. Like it really pained me. But we talk about sacrifices, and my sacrifice was, God, if you help me, then I'll help others. I sacrificed myself for others. That was my sacrifice. So every day that you see me talking about or sharing my story or sharing posts, it's because that was my sacrifice to God, because I knew that I wasn't by myself and I knew that something was wrong. In 2009, I attempted suicide. And that year was really hard for me. That year was a year my kid's father crashed my car. I didn't have insurance on the car because I was struggling. I was working. My kids were in daycare. I ended up having to take the kids out of daycare because I ended up losing my job, so I wasn't able to pay for daycare. Every time I would start something, it seemed like nothing would go right. Every time I wanted to do something, it seemed like I could never do it. And I never blame my children for it, but it just kind of hurt. And everybody around you, when you're hurting so bad, it seems like everybody around you is so happy. It seems like everybody else is great, but you're drowning and you don't know what to do. And I had people around that I could talk to, but of course nobody really understood. And it's really all about, let's go ahead and thank you for sharing. Let's go ahead. You just need to go out, or you just need to have a drink. And I know people don't mean that in a mean way, but to be honest with you, when you see a person who's in need, you don't, hey, Miss Swiggy, when you see a person who is in need, I think we all need to start educating ourselves more so we could be able to help. I was pushing for people, even in my community, to be able to be certified youth and adult mental health specialists. It's youth and adult, it's not a specialist, but it's for support. And I wanted to be able to have people to be able to understand the language, to be understanding, so that you can, if you see someone or you're having a conversation with your friends, your family, or even yourself, if you're going through something, you'll know what it is. Now, everybody has suffered from depression, but there's different types. When we go through grief, there's that point, where it's like it's really hurting you right now and you're going through something right now, but sometimes it doesn't last as long as others. And so for others, it lasts a little longer. But when I attempted suicide, I called my grandmother and I told my grandmother, I wanted her to know she raised me. That's the love of my life. My grandmother has been my biggest supporter ever. And I'm grateful to have had her in my life, and she's still in my life today. And I called her to let her know that it wasn't her fault. It wasn't her fault. Like, I was really going through something and it wasn't her fault. And here I am trying to support my family. This was not my life. This was not my plan that I had for my life. I wanted to go to college. I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to be married. I wanted to be very successful in life. And so my life didn't pan out that way. And then My kids were gone. They came back home with their father, and I woke up 2 days later in a psychiatric unit with a woman next to me yelling and screaming. I had the biggest headache of my life. Now, I tell you this, I really wanted to go. I was so hurt. And it wasn't just because of what had happened right then and there. It was because every time I tried, things happened. For me, it was like every time I did something, nothing went right. And it's like, if everybody else is going to be happy, whatever, why should I be here? The system, when we say the system is broken, it's broken because once you're gone, there's nobody to follow up with you or check on you. And there may be programs out there that's really great. However, where I was, it wasn't really great. All you're told is that after you leave, you make sure you go and get your, once you're gone, you just get your, medications, and you go to a therapist, and then you're just taking stuff. Like, nobody's teaching you how to get to the root core of the issues. Nobody's teaching you or telling you what you should be doing. Like, nobody's teaching you or telling you, like, you need to what are some things that you need to do? What are the things that you really want to do? But nobody's teaching you how to journal. Nobody's teaching you how to express yourself. Nobody's teaching you how to kind of just let your emotions speak for itself and find the words to your emotions. Nobody's teaching you how to speak differently. And it's messed up because, see, in my community, when it's a poor community, you don't really get the help. But now that we're seeing celebrities, it's like they have access to this. But the pain is so deep because the people who you're around, if you have it, you don't want nobody to know that you don't have it. You don't want nobody to know what you're going through, because everybody's supposed to be riding around and getting it, and people think because you have money, you don't have feelings. People think because you have money, you don't have these emotions and you don't go through anything. What they say, more money, more problems, and that's real. But I just really want to be able to help people. And sometimes I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do? I share my story as much as I can. I put myself on the forefront as much as I can. I quit my job. I got 5 kids to feed, and I pay my mama bills too. And I need my job. But I left my job because when I say that there is a crisis, when I'm saying that we are in a crisis, I'm very, very disturbed that the people who come into my city who says that they're going to do a job are not doing a job. And a person like myself, who is there in the trenches, who is here doing the work, who is here providing services, see that children are attempting suicide attempts back to back. I mean, I have to report it. And nobody was listening to me. Now, one person was listening to me, and I was like, we need to do something. You have no services. Now, you can research this. Where I'm at, DC is ranked the highest. They're like, in some slats, number 1 and number 3, there is no access for youth to be able to get help. Everybody has been diagnosed with some sort of depression, some sort of mental health disorder. And it's very disturbing that we will put our monies in places that don't mean a damn thing. But nobody listens when you say people are in a crisis. Nobody gives a damn about that because you don't see it. Nobody cares about the pain that you go through because it's invisible and it's real. And what pisses me off is that every time we turn around and we see something, everybody is RIP, but you wasn't there when they needed the help. What pisses me off the most is that people, you're gonna be fine. Oh, we need to do this. Or some people just want to hop on the next big thing. That's the next big topic. That's why I don't like politics. That's why I don't want to deal with politics, because it's disturbing. It's like, do you really have a heart, or are you really jumping on something because it's the next best thing? People are out here dying, and we are seeing celebrities, and it's sad to say that people will only pay attention to it because you're seeing these celebrities dying back to back, back to back. But at the end of the day, a person like myself, and there are other people who are even on my page, there are other people out here in the world who are really in the trenches, who are serious, but nobody pays attention to that. It's like, oh, another story. No, it's not another story. Because I tell people all the time, don't RIP me. You're not going to do that. This is why I started a call for stories, because I wanted people to use their words to express themselves, to be able to share. That's why I did a call for stories for surviving the DA, depression and anxiety, because I know what it's like. I live with it every single day of my life. My children had to be trained on how to help their mother when she is in anxiety. When I'm in anxiety, my children need to know what to do. My children need to know the conversations that need to be had, the conversations that need not to be had, the words to be used. I teach my children to help each other and to also help myself. And it's very, very disturbing that every time I turn around, it's like, you know, people don't take it serious. You're not going to RIP me. I create spaces for people to use their words. I create spaces to be able to not be judged. I did my call for stories because I know that there's so many people out there, and I know how people are. They're judgmental. People are very judgmental. And I wanted to create a space where people would not allow people to judge them or mock them. So things like, people may know something about you, right? And this is real talk. People may know something, right? Sometimes people know your past, things you used to do, who you used to be. And so they hold on to that, right? And they're always in your past, right? And they're always trying to shame you for it. I wanted people to break their silence by using their words, sharing their stories of depression, because you know what? You are the author of your life. You become the author of your story. Don't let people continue to keep you down. Don't let people continue to share your story. You share your story. You share your darkest, deepest secrets. You share that space that you want to share with somebody else who you know is going through. I have so many pieces of my life, I don't even know where to begin. So I wanted to be able to break it down to give others an opportunity. Yes, I grew up fatherless. I'm giving people an opportunity. If your father was there, what would you tell them? There are people who had their fathers there and their fathers were raping them. There are people who had their fathers there, knew who they were, but they weren't being fathers. So I created, if I could, a call for stories. I also created Surviving the DA, depression, anxiety, not just for people who suffer from mental illness, but what about those who grew up in households? What about those who had parents who grew up in households? I used to be embarrassed of my mother because she was paranoid, schizophrenic, and bipolar. I was embarrassed and I was hurt. I wanted to be able to help somebody. When I got to a place where I was like, you know what, God, I'll go ahead and give myself to you. I don't care what people say about me. I don't care what people know about me. I don't care about the mistakes that I made in the past. I'll go ahead and share my story. If you go ahead, God, and help me. You don't know what it's like to wake up in the middle of the night when you haven't slept in 5 months because you suffer in anxiety and depression, and you wake up in a manic episode and all you hear is voices. I used to hear people say it all the time. I started to hear them, and it hurt me to my heart, and nobody could save me. You get pissed off at doctors, but the reality is, especially in low underserved communities, the truth of the matter is you have to sit there and face your own shit. And I'm saying it straight like that, because if you don't face your own demons, if you don't get real with yourself, they know doctors and no medicine can do that for you. You gotta do it for yourself. It's real talk. I'm sick and tired of seeing these fake programs sitting around here. They're not doing that for the communities. I'm sick and tired of people sitting here with these janky ass things that they talking about, and it's real. It's real. Everybody's sitting around here faking. Let me tell you something. You may see my success. You may see accomplishments. I live because I know it's people who are out here killing themselves. I know that it's people who are out here dying, who are in silence, who are in their homes, who are trying to take care of their kids. I know what it's like. I've been there. I've done that. I didn't just try to commit suicide in 2009. I've been trying to kill myself since I was a kid. Nobody knew about it. Why could you share it? Why could you talk about it? Because nobody was going to understand. So let me tell you something. You gotta face your own shit. You gotta sit there and ask yourself, what is it? Why am I this way? What's going on with me? Start going ahead and try to dig down to the root core of the issues so that you can help yourself. It's real out here. I didn't have to make it through. I didn't have to wake up on the psychiatric unit, but God allowed me to still do that. So I don't care what people say. I get people who tell me, don't nobody want to hear your story. Why you keep sharing? No, you need to do it this way. Don't tell me what to do. I know what to do. Don't nobody get to tell me what to do. Don't put your mouth on people that you don't know. If you don't know nothing about it, don't put your mouth on it. How about you try to help? Everybody that's trying to help people need to help themselves. Majority of the people. You can't help nobody till you help yourself. I seen how it was more liquor stores in my community than it was services. I seen how even the doctors would look at you and treat you like pure crap because your pain was so invisible. People looking at you, laughing at you. People saying, oh, ain't nothing wrong with her, she can go home. But you don't know what that pain feels like. When I gotta still, even when you go to church and you go and you shout about it and you pray about it and you cry about it and you just all teared up in the church and you shouting your way out and you trying your best. But when you get home and ain't nobody there, what you gonna do? You don't know what it's like to have to sit there and listen to these negative voices, to these things and everything that people have put their, words over you that have hurt you, and there's nobody there. So you know what? I don't even blame some people sometimes for sitting there and they're smoking cigarettes and they're trying to ease the pain. The pain is deeper than what you know. And I'm so sick and tired of it. I haven't asked nobody for a dime from my company. Everything that I do, I have put my own money in it. I'm not going to no community, nobody. I'm not getting no monies from nobody to do anything. Everything that I do it on my own because I don't want nobody to tarnish what I have worked hard for, what I have cried for, what I have prayed about. Because I know it's not just women, it's men out here suffering. I get men who reach out to me because they're like, I went from drinking 1 cup of Patron to the whole bottle. I got men who reach out to me who like, I don't even know what to do. I don't even know who to talk to. I talk to these men every day. I can't even talk to my boys. I can't do none of that. That's why I'm not telling y'all this. I'm not telling y'all anything, that I don't know. I share everything that I know. I get people who reach out to me when I even just call them and say hello. They break down in tears over the phone. Y'all, it's real. It's so real. It's so real. It's so real. And it's funny. And yes, I am going to say, I do get in my feelings. Because I sit here, I share videos, I share stories, I share posts, I share information. And it's so funny because people will share the heck out of somebody that they don't know. They share the heck out of the posts where somebody done passed away and somebody done died. They share the heck out of those posts for people that they don't know. RIP. And it just makes me wonder, do you really mean that? Do you really mean that? Or are you just posting because it's the next topic, right? It's like, oh my God, again, somebody else committed suicide. But you know what? There's so many people who do that. I had people here in my community. Marion Barry's son, Christopher. Guess what? Suicide. Do you see anybody talking about that? No, but it was the next best topic when somebody wanted to stand there and say, oh, he was this and that, and he was really great, and his father was this and that. And I'm going to be real about it because I ain't keeping my mouth closed about it. And I told y'all before, y'all got to stop this mess. There's so much face. That's why I don't associate myself with certain people. I don't even go in certain environments because it's real. Because if he meant something to you, then you would have made sure that you kept doing something in the community because your community is in trauma. Your community is in a damn crisis. And nobody gives a shit about that. Nobody gives a shit about that. I don't care how much programs you put out here. Until you start making a focus on mental illness, when you start making a focus on the fact that your people are in trauma, nothing you do will go right. Because if you don't get a handle on helping people free their minds, if you don't get a handle on helping the people who are in trauma from seeing so much, from going through so much in their households, being raised and seeing so much growing up, and then you got a community full of hurt and pain, you got a community where people are killing each other, you got a community where people are bashing each other, humiliating each other, there's nothing here for nobody. If you're already dark in your mindset, how in the hell do you expect people in underserved communities to even help themselves? This is ridiculous. And I'm tired of it. I'm going to continue to focus on what it is that I'm doing. I have a call for stories. I'm looking for people. I want to share 20 stories in all of my books. I want to make those books sequels. I want to share people's stories. I want people to share the stories of their gloomy days, their deepest, darkest hours, so that we can stop these stigmas of depression. You might not be able to see my depression. You might not be able to see the pain of it. But guess what? One thing about it, I don't care if you black, if you white, or whatever. when we sit and we talk about it, we all know what this pain is. I want to be able to help you guys to understand that this thing is just deeper than one situation. It's like people are like, oh, well, they have money, they can pay for this or this or that, or all you have to do is go get help. No, you can't. It ain't even that easy. I ain't even gonna lie to y'all. It's not really that easy. And it's really pain on top of pain on top of pain on top of pain on top of pain. And when you don't even have the right people in your life, guess what? Baby, you in trouble. Let me tell you something. I thank God for the people that's in my life. I thank God for my best friend, Tia Hill. Yes, I do. I thank God for her. I thank God for her because I can call her and I can talk about my pain. I can talk about this is what I'm trying to do. And sometimes I get discouraged. And when I have a friend who's going to pray for you, to have a friend who's going to tell you to pick you up and snatch you up, even when you're wrong, I love that. And I need that because I need a friend who understands. And I want to be around people who are trying to do something. I'm not begging nobody for no money out here. Everything that I do, my kids haven't gotten a Christmas. My daughter's birthday is this month. My kids don't get birthdays and Christmases because mommy is going after her dreams. Because I believe in my dreams, and in order even to help my children, I have to be better to myself. People are going through so much. And y'all have no idea what people are going through. If you see somebody smile, if you're going through something, that it's okay to open up. Even if you have one person that you feel that you want to go to, open up. Talk to that person. Talk to that person. You know, if you don't really understand what you're going through, just walk into your doctor's office, schedule an appointment. If you feel that you're in a crisis and you're going through things and you haven't slept and you haven't, been yourself lately, you can go into an emergency room. Now, sometimes, it's like when you go there, they send you home because sometimes it's like, well, the emergency room is really there because it's emergency, and sometimes they don't see your pain, right? So they don't keep you sometimes. What really pains me the most is that it's like people are talking about it, but nobody gives a damn. I don't think y'all realize how serious it is. You know what? I stay alive every single day, knowing that other people need me, knowing that somebody else is suffering in silence and they're afraid. Because if I can stand boldly in front of the world, I'll stand on the forefront. I'll sacrifice my life. And I told God, I made a promise to God to do something. And ain't nobody gonna stop me. Ain't nobody gonna stop me. Ain't nobody gonna stop me. My call for stories, I'm looking for people all over the world to share their story so that you can help other people. Because it's people who are going through, and I want them to look at these books and I want them to read your stories and know that one, they're not by themselves, and I want you to encourage them and inspire them. And I want them to know that I want you to share, also share the traumas, because I think people don't really understand what this thing is. And it's okay. I live with stuff every day. And sometimes some visuals I see of my traumas, I just have to not only shake my head, but I journal. I write to my pain. I'm just so sick and tired of seeing the RIPs. I don't want to see no more suicide attempts. I don't want to see no more where people are killing themselves. I just want people, it's like, what more do I do? I share my story every day. I put stuff on YouTube. I put stuff on social media. I started my company, Reconnecting Our Communities, LLC. I got my website. I've been speaking. I've been talking about it. I did a call for stories. I'm still looking for people for my call for stories. What else do I do? I think we all have to focus on what our gifts are and what we can bring. What our gifts are and what we can bring to the table. And I think when we focus more on what we can do as individuals, then those gifts not only will make room for us, but they'll also be able to help people, because everything that you do, you're going to serve people. I don't care if you cut down trees. I don't care if you park cars. Everything that you do it to serve people. This is how I serve. I'm an emotional person, but guess what? I take my emotions and I'm able to write. I'm able to express myself through words. And I want to be able to help other people express themselves as well. And I don't mean to sit here and cry, but it's just really pissing me off. And I just see some stuff even here in my city. Their focus is on the wrong stuff, especially in helping people in poor communities. The focus is so wrong. And then when I look at so many people, it's like you can't even help nobody if you can't help yourself. And everybody needs somebody. And I'm just going to keep praying that God going to keep sending me the people for these call for stories. God just going to keep sending the stories. People going to keep reaching out. And y'all, you know, some people might laugh or think it's a joke when I say, I'm going to meet Oprah. But I'm going to tell you right now, when I get these stories, I'm going to make sure that when my book is done, I'll make sure it gets to Oprah. I'm going to make sure it gets to people that are going to be able to share with other people. I want people around the world to know who I am so I could start sharing more of stories and helping stop stigmas of depression and helping people to create a space for them to use their words without being judged or mocked, to help people to not feel so alone, to help mothers, to help families, to help men. You know, like, it's so real out here, and I'm just so tired of seeing it. But every day I'm going to keep pushing. Y'all might see me crying sometimes. What I think is people see you on social media, right? Yeah. In 1 week, the Queen within, in 1 week, we've had 2 suicides. But those are just the people. Those are celebrity people. There are people every day. There's somebody right now who's waking up. There was a little girl here in my area. I believe they called her name was Stormy. Oh, baby, it was the biggest topic of the century in the city. For about a couple weeks, everybody wanted staying outside with balloons and staying outside. And this isn't right and staying outside. Guess what? The school is still open. And I ain't heard not one more person talk about suicide prevention. I haven't heard one person talk about programs that they doing. But I see every program about violence. I don't see no money's going towards mental health. I don't see no money's going toward peer support for. I don't see no money's and nobody talking about mental illness at all. When we are in a crisis, and I'm talking about my city, Washington, D.C., and underserved communities, when we're in a crisis and there's violence that's going on, don't you think that people are going to be in trauma? So nobody thinks to think about that. Nobody thinks to, you know, and it's just irritating. I'm just so sick and tired of it. It happens so daily, and it's just so sad. Because, like, I really remember the times that I tried, and I used to be like, why am I still here? Now I know why I'm still here. Because there were going to be people who was going to need to hear my story. There was going to be people. God needed me. God poured every idea and everything in me that he needs me to do to be able to help so many other people. And I think it's so sad. You know, I'm going to keep going because ain't nobody going to stop me at all. Like, ain't nobody going to stop me. I know what it's like for people to know something about you and turn it into a big lie. I know what it's like for people to know something about you and just gossip about it. And that's why I created my call for stories, because I know what it's like. And this is not just going to be just 2 books. I'm going to continue to have a call for stories. A call for stories for people who have been homeless. Because there are people who are going to be homeless that want to know, is there hope? What can I do? What was your situation? You feel so alone. You feel by yourself. There are people who are caregivers to their families, and it's like, what do I do? It's so painful. I have taken care of my great uncle who passed away. I am now taking care of my grandmother who suffered 2 strokes, and she has raised me. It's not easy every day to take care of somebody you love, take care of your 5 kids, and pursue a dream. But because my vision is so big, and because I even have a vision, because I have a plan for myself, is why I keep going. And I think this is what happens to a lot of people. People perish. People perish because they don't have a plan for themselves. If you don't have nothing to distract, the distractions that are going to be in your face, the distractions that are going to be in your face, then you're going to just focus on that and not on the vision that you have for yourself. So we really have to start creating a plan for ourselves, what it is that we want. I took everything and I put it into my business because I know what it's like. One, I'm a single mother of 5 kids, and I don't say that very proudly, and I say single because I'm not married. I take care not only of my kids, I take care of my grandmother, my mother, and I support my brother to be able to help him to do better. And then I have myself that I have to continue to go after my dreams. And I am so sad. Like, I'm grateful to God that He's kept me to be able to have my company and be able to share my own mental illness, my own mental illness. Like, let me see, matter of fact, I think I got it right here. I think I shared this on Facebook one day with you guys. This right here is, what was this? This right here was my paperwork from my doctor's office, and I had shared this with you guys because I wanted people to know that you are bigger and stronger than your circumstances. And when I was going through what I was going through, I had no idea that I would be here today. This is like my whole history at my doctor's office, right? And I had shared with you guys, I think I took a picture of it. I had a stroke at 33 years old in 2015. Diabetic, overweight, unhappy, no job. My major depression kicked in again. Well, when I say I was depressed, but I ended up going into a crisis. That's what happened. And we had that thing where we say you have to be strong, you have to be strong, you have to keep going. Well, I ran myself into a crisis. So when you start to see the early signs or feel early signs of yourself being depressed, when you see or feel early signs of something doesn't feel right, I want you to go get help. I want you to talk to your doctors. I want you to be able to talk to a friend. I want you to be able to go get yourself help. Because what I did was I ran myself into a crisis. I could have died when I had that stroke at 33. I had 5 kids. But I kept going. Thank God I'm still alive. I went into a crisis later on. And so all of my diagnoses are here. So I am diagnosed with anxiety disorder. I am diagnosed with PTSD, major depression, panic attacks, I'm also diagnosed with mood disorder, and manic episodes. I've also been diagnosed with narcolepsy. And these continue because this is how many times I went into the doctor's office over and over and over again because my anxiety was so bad. I was really fighting for my life. And I didn't know what to do. It took me almost 2 or 3 months before I even saw a psychiatrist because the wait time is so long. I want you guys to start taking your health very serious. Start taking your mental health serious as well. When you see somebody smile, start to get educated more on what depression is, what mental illness is. There's so many types of different disorders. It's nothing bad. Some people, pain lasts a little longer than others. For those of you who have never gone through it, I'm glad. Be thankful and grateful, but that doesn't mean that you can't treat people with respect. I'm getting ready to get out of here because I have some things that I need to do today. I thank you guys for listening, but I also want you guys to get help. If you're interested in learning more about my call for stories, please do inbox me, or I want you to definitely go to my website, Go to my website and schedule a consultation with me. Reach out to me. For those of you who are interested in my call for stories, if you want to learn more about it and you want to put your story in, I want you to go ahead and reach out to me. Again, I thank you guys for allowing me the space to be able to just be free and be who I am. It's time that we get a handle on so much that's going on. I love you guys, and you have a blessed day. Make sure you give somebody a smile. Call up a friend, a family. Just say, hey, I'm thinking about you. Good morning. Call up that person that you've been mad at forever. Apologize even if you did no wrong. Start to free yourself and free your mind. And when you start to do that, things will start unraveling. Start journaling your thoughts so you can see where you need to really work on things in your life. And start creating a plan for yourself. Let your gifts make room for you so that you can be of help to others. I thank you guys, and you guys have a great day.